that smell? Is that like coffee and fresh cooked bacon? Or is it like fresh cooked bread? It smells really good. Oh wait, it's something sweeter. Yes, we're back to the 2022 Pursue Peace District Convention? Is it just convention now? I don't really remember. We used to call them district conventions when I was still in. Thank you for gathering with me for part 2. I hope you guys are enjoying these. It's like a little saga, a little quest that we can all take together. So every morning at 6 a.m. I think I'll just release a new one until we're done with it. And don't worry, I do have a couple of other videos in the queue, so it won't just be convention talk all the time here on the JW Thoughts channel. So we will be breaking it up at times. But it's here. I think everyone seems to enjoy looking at the convention, kind of get a feel for what's going on within the organization. Anyway, you know all the YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Let's do this thing.
How is peace related to love? How can we show love? And what blessings result when we do? The first symposium of this convention will answer those questions. Brother Seth Hyatt, a helper to the service committee of the governing body, will begin with the talk, How Love Leads to Genuine Peace, Love for God.
I'm going to jump right in and look at the concept of how peace brings love. So Jehovah's Witnesses think they have this ultimate peace, which means they have some sense of love, which I can attest to that Jehovah's Witnesses are absolutely full of love. My entire experience of being one of Jehovah's Witnesses, a Jehovah's Witness, was just being wrapped and swaddled in a beautiful, cozy, squishy blanket of love and kindness, and it was unconditional. Yep, that was my experience.
What do you think? Is there a connection, a relationship between love and peace? And if so, what role does love play in achieving genuine peace? Well, the Bible helps us to appreciate that love is an essential element in achieving genuine peace. So we're interested in showing love. As students of the Bible, we know that humans were created in the image of God, and as a result, you and I have the ability to show love. But we also know that we live in a world that has a very distorted view and definition of love. That, combined with our own imperfection, means that if we're not careful, our view of love can become distorted. So how do we guard against that?
I don't think too many of you guys are going to be broken up that we're listening to this in double time, because this man speaks painfully slow. So I can keep up with it. So I think there's a setting in YouTube where you can actually slow it down if it's a little too fast. But we do have our two counters, the love and the peace. I don't know which side actually I'm going to put them on. Counters. So we'll see how many times he's going to be able to utter the words love and peace, or as he likes to say, love and peace. Now, the thing he's talking about here with this distorted view of love, Watchtower, again, I said this in yesterday's episode, but Watchtower has an inability to look in the mirror and realize that they're describing the thing that they're condemning. He talks about the world's distorted view of love and how we need to guard against that. What are you talking about? You have an absolute distorted view of love. Your version of love revolves around, it's completely heliocentric around Watchtower. All of the components in showing love have to be confined into the Watchtower paradigm. And as soon as you go off orbit, as soon as you become a rogue star that's like, you know what, nuts to this orbit, I'm gonna go out there on my own, you immediately are just left in the cold. And they'll still say as they're waving you goodbye, hey, you know, we love you, don't worry.
By allowing Jehovah to teach us how to love. And when you think about it, what better teacher could we have? The Bible says that God is love. That means that Jehovah, our creator, who knows us better than we know ourselves, who embodies, who personifies love, is willing to teach us how to love. And how does he do that? Well, by means of his word, the Bible, and by means of his own beautiful example. As we get acquainted with Jehovah, we learn what love really is. And as we put that love to work, as Jesus did, then we're in a position to enjoy genuine peace.
So God has shown us how he is the embodiment of love through the pages of his word, the Bible. I'm sorry, and I know I talk about it a lot, but I don't think that giving rules on owning other human beings and specifying the extent that you can beat them in order to keep them in line because they're your property without consequence. I think that has nothing to do with love. Any person, any being, any deity that can come up with that in his law code, his perfect law code, is demonstrably teaching people how not to love.
In this symposium, we're going to explore how love for God, love of neighbor, and love for God's word, the Bible, can lead to genuine peace. First, let's talk about love for God. How important is that if we want to enjoy genuine peace? Well, Jesus provides some insight in a statement he made that's recorded in our Bibles at Matthew chapter 22. Let's look at it. Matthew chapter 22, and we're going to read verse 37. Now, to provide some context for these words, Jesus has been asked a question by a man who is well versed in the law. What is the greatest commandment in the law? Notice how Jesus responds. He said to him, "You must love Jehovah your God with your whole heart, and with your whole soul, and with your whole mind. This is the greatest and first commandment." You must love Jehovah your God, a command. Love for Jehovah is essential. It has to be the most important relationship in our life, more important than any human, more important than anything. We want to love Jehovah. To what extent? Well, Jesus says, with your whole heart. Now, what does that involve?
I know it's probably a bit hackneyed at this point, but it must be said. When he is talking about love for Jehovah, what he's really saying is love for Jehovah's organization, because there's no way to get to God other than through this organization. So unless you are following the rules and regulations that come from Watchtower, there's no way that you can have a relationship with God in their minds, and you are just going to be burned to a crisp in the very incoming war of Armageddon. So when he's saying these words, just always remember that whenever he's like talking about this love for Jehovah and blah 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 blah, there's absolutely a mediator between you as an individual being able to have a relationship with God, and that mediator is good old Watchtower.
The context of Jesus' words helps us to understand that he was talking about a person's feelings, emotions, desires. So does love for God involve our emotions? Absolutely. But it has to involve more than a simple affection for God. Why do we say that? Well, what did Jesus say next? With your whole soul. That is, with your entire being. We use everything we have to praise Jehovah and to prove our love for him. But even more is involved. Jesus concludes by saying, with your whole mind. So our intellectual faculties are involved. We're willing to take the time to get to know Jehovah's thinking and make it our thinking. We want to think the way Jehovah thinks. We want to understand his purpose and his requirements for us. And we want to understand his personality.
If you ask this man, well, okay, I want to do that. I want to understand God's personality. He seems like a cool cat. Maybe we can be pals and watch a movie someday. He is going to say, ha ha, he he. But then he's going to eventually have to admit, yeah, the only way that you can get to know God's personality, truthfully, the only way that you can come to an accurate knowledge of his will and his purpose and his personality is by reading my literature.
This is the only way.
Plain and simple. So when he's talking about all of these ways to get to know God, it is just self-promoting the governing body and their helpers that are on all these different committees. It's just helping their end game, their cause. So it's really kind of gross, and sorry I wouldn't have made you guys suffer through this talk this long, but I thought the love and peace counter were a funny idea. It's actually getting quite tedious, so hopefully it's not too annoying. We'll get through it together. Deep breath, we can always light the candle.
Now, when we think about that kind of love, it's clear that it encompasses our thoughts, our words, and our actions. Nothing is left out. And that kind of love provides a basis for a friendship with God. And that results in peace with God. So there we see the progression. Loving Jehovah with our whole heart, soul, and mind leads to peace with God. And as we enjoy peace with God, we can also enjoy inner peace and peace with those around us. Now, how does that work? Well, our love for Jehovah motivates us to imitate him, and we cultivate the qualities that Jehovah displays. For example, patience, kindness, mildness, qualities that make us attractive to others, and qualities that promote peace with others. I'm sure you would agree that we want to be at peace with God. But sometimes our peace can be threatened. We may experience pressure. We may be the subject of some wrong, some injustice, some evil that threatens our peace. And then the question is, will we handle things in a way that is pleasing to Jehovah? Or will we become impatient or try to take matters into our own hands? In the following dramatization, notice how a family draws strength from a Bible account that highlights love and respect for Jehovah's sovereignty.
Yes, we are embarking upon our first journey into this symposium's drama. It is a real wild ride. I almost said wheel wild, but it is a wheel wild wide. And we are going to be treated to a mom trying to help her kids get through some of the obstacles of being a child, a teenager, and growing up as a Jehovah's Witness. Buckle up.
Olivia! Olivia! Hurry, you're gonna be late for school.
Right off the bat here, you get a introduction into what it's like being a Jehovah's Witness and growing up. You grow up with everything centered around Watchtower. So, for instance, she likes to draw and do sketch art. And they have to show her doing little art projects that are scriptures and remember the days of old and, you know, animals and talking about how God created them or whatever it was. It's so amazing how something that you just enjoy.
Ice cream, Miss Sprinkle.
Anything that you have or do, it has to be going towards furthering Watchtower's agenda. And no doubt her mom is like hyping her up like, yeah, you should really pursue that art career because then you can go to Bethel and work in the art department. And if you think I'm joking, I'm genuinely not. That is what, if you are going to pursue any type of skill, it's an end game of how can you use that for Watchtower.
Thank you.
Okay, Mom, I'm going to preach.
See you. Bye, Mom. Love you.
Have a good day.
See you later, Mom.
As we all know, I am the craftsman of catchiness, and something that I noticed here was the little sign on the locker that said vote, because they're just trying to create this space where this Jehovah's Witness walks into school and it is a freaking battleground. Everyone's readied up and just getting ready to blast. So no matter what it is, it's not even the issue, but just a little subtle thing on the side that's like, vote. Oh boy, scary. I wouldn't want to have an opinion. Oh my God, what would happen if I formed my own opinion about something? That would be awful. Could never do that.
Today's poll, would she ever? She would never. She's an angel. I think it's all of her. You know she's wild. Oh yeah. She totally does. Okay, I'm totally posting that. Do it. Okay, it's up. You just get that. Hey everyone, Brooke here. And Amanda. Guess who just walked in? Olivia. And there's Jake. Today's poll, would she ever?
No, she would never. She's an angel.
I think it's all an act. You know she's wild.
Oh, she saw it. She saw it.
I can't believe I don't even think she likes guys.
What if she's into girls?
Everybody's getting it.
I bet she's still a virgin.
Well, we have all of our characters set into place here. We have our antagonists, our protagonists, our love interest, and our Princess Leia looking character who looked actually kind of compassionately when she initially saw the video. So maybe she's going to study with her or something by the end. Who knows? But a few things here kind of confused me. Why is she following people from her school on social media? Isn't that just like an auto no-no for witnesses? In the Young People Ask book, on Article 67, it's talking about what I should know about online photo sharing. And in that article, one of the bullet points is this. Avoid contact with people who do not share your values, since they can undermine your moral defenses. The Bible says, do not be misled. Bad associations corrupt good morals. There is another article in one of their meeting workbooks entitled Choose Your Friends Wisely, and it gives the example of what happened with the men and the women of Moab. So it says, what happened to Israel on the plains of Moab is a warning example for Christians. Israelites who began associating with the sexually immoral, idol-worshipping women of Moab were lured into gross wrongdoing. This resulted in disastrous consequences. And then it lists Numbers chapter 25, verse 9, which says, those who died from the scourge amounted 24,000. Yes, they absolutely are trying to scare people from using social media and having friends that aren't Jehovah's Witnesses, even using an example where 24,000 people died in the process. It's just my assumption and my experience that no one would be following like worldly people on social media. And if you were, like, other witnesses would find out about it, and they would like track who you like follow and who you like and everything. They do the old cyber stalking on all of their members. And when if they found out that you were, associating online with worldly people, they would rat you out to the elders. So this whole situation seems kind of silly just to begin with. But also you could just walk up and be like, hey man, that's not cool. I'm just not really interested in anyone right now. Could you take that video down? And I mean, I don't know. And if they laugh at you, then they just kind of look like jerks and assholes. But in Watchtower's brain, if she did that and just was like a normal, regular person, then the whole class will start making fun of her and laughing and eruption. Ha 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 ha, look at you, loser, bozo. It's like, people aren't that bad. I mean, there are some people that are bad and kind of rude and jerks like that. They do exist, but it's definitely not the majority. And if you call someone out in public for being rude or making you uncomfortable, generally speaking, they're going to be like, oh, whoops. I mean, unless they're just a really, really shitty person. And in that case, you would have exposed them for being a shitty person and you have nothing to lose. But just like sitting there doing this, it's just weird.
Hey, can I see that?
Yeah, of course. Here you go.
Enjoy life forever. Now, how are you going to do that?
Well, that's a very good question, actually. Well, God promises...
No. No, not God, you. What are you doing?
Me? Well, I try to help others.
Try? Man, all you do is stand next to your little cart while the rest of us stand up for your rights, bro.
Well, I'm actually neutral.
Neutral? Ain't no neutral. You're just a coward. Take your trash.
Well, now we have the other side of the family stuck in a real pickle. He has gotten himself into this predicament because he's committed the crime of standing next to a cart silently not doing anything. Now, it has been my experience that most people just ignore you. They just walk by. I never really had anyone that was too antagonistic, unless they were someone that was trying to be cool for their friends and they were like at a bachelor party weekend and they were drunk or something. Sometimes they could just, but those are just idiots being morons, so whatever, that's fine. But not too many people were very antagonistic or anything. Most people just kind of ignore you. And I think they did do an accurate job of displaying what it's like to stand at the cart. Someone comes, hey, can I see that? Here you go. No, I'm not really interested. This is trash. Okay. That's pretty much how it goes. But it was quite disheartening because he's like, man, don't tell me I'm not doing anything. I'm doing stuff. I'm standing next to this cart, bro. You want to go? Come on. Let's get our fisticuffs out and duke it out. What are fisticuffs anyway?
Fisticuffs! Crossbow! Oh, dear!
How'd it go?
It was a tough day at the cart, but I'm okay.
Olivia, for God's sake, stop watching this TikTok. Just leave it alone. It's not going to do anything for your mental health. It's not going to help fix the situation. It's going to only fixate you on the problem, and you're just killing yourself. Mom, come in there and slap her a little bit and be like, hey, you bozo, stop watching this crap. It's not going to do anything for you. Let's come up with a good plan. But Mom is no doubt going to come in here with the holy silver sword and start getting and penetrating down to the heart of her daughter. Let's see how she skillfully uses the word of God.
Olivia? What's wrong?
Hey everyone, Brooke here. And Amanda. Guess who just walked in? Olivia. And there's Jake. Today's poll, would she ever?
No, she would never. She's an angel.
I think it's all an act. You know she's wild.
Oh, she saw it. She saw it.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. You know, it reminds me of a situation Paul was in. I think it was Acts chapter 16 and verse 23. After they had inflicted many blows on them, they threw them into prison and ordered the jailer to guard them securely. Because he got such an order, he threw them into the inner prison and fastened their feet in the stocks.
This lady has my vote for being the first female member of the governing body because she's got the boring, monotone cadence down perfectly. There was no emotion in that. They beat him ruthlessly. They put him in the prison cell. They bound his feet and said, "You're in the stocks now, Buster. Don't go and do that thing anymore." Like, I can't even... It's so unbelievable how witnesses adopt the same way of talking and the same way of speaking, and it's just so flat. Even the music is just like... It doesn't change. Sorry, Zizi, did that wake you up? Anyway.
But about the middle of the night, Paul and Silas were praying and praising God with song, and the prisoners were listening to them. What do you think made them want to sing?
Okay, Mom, so your daughter feels like she's being bullied at school. And your response to this, hey, remember when that guy from the Bible got beat up and thrown in prison? What did he do? He sang. All right, good talk. What do we want for dinner? Beef stew or mac and cheese?
I love beef stew.
They loved Jehovah. And when they focused on that, how do you think they felt?
I think they felt some peace.
That's right. How about we dig a little bit deeper?
Okay.
Okay.
And the first time you watch this, you're probably thinking, I'm sure she's going to have some more ammunition. I'm sure she's going to try and relate this to my situation, at least do something. Nope. Just some guy in the Bible got beat up and he started singing. And that was, that was it. And then she's like, well, how about we dig a little bit deeper? Into what? Like the actual problem that I'm facing and trying to find a reasonable solution for that? Try and actually, like, give me the tools to be able to handle the situation? Or do you mean dig deeper and just read the Bible and do the hear no evil, speak no evil, say no evil, whatever?
No.
I don't get it. I don't get what the lesson here is. Is it just telling parents, yeah, when your kids have problems, just try and ignore them and steer them back to the Bible? Because this is weird.
What did you notice? Gabe and Olivia are under pressure. Olivia in the classroom, Gabe at the witnessing cart. How will they handle the pressure? In a way that preserves their peace with Jehovah? Well, it's a good question. And really, all of us need to reflect on that question when we're under pressure. We know that Jehovah's way is the best way. We're convinced that his way of ruling is the best way. But when we're subjected to pressure, perhaps the victim of some injustice, or even of some evil, we may be inclined to take matters into our own hands. And when we do, it can jeopardize our peace. So how do we demonstrate respect for Jehovah's sovereignty?
This is something I haven't heard in a while, and it really brought back some memories. This idea that taking matters into your own hands is, basically not submitting to Jehovah's sovereignty. Basically you're saying, well, I don't need you because I can handle the problems by myself. But the thing is we don't have any demonstrable examples of God swooping in miraculously saving the day. God doesn't come to us as Superman and save you if you drive your car off of a bridge and go boom and catch you. We don't get any of that. So what is he actually talking about? I don't know. I don't know, but it's preaching this ideology that you don't have to do anything about the problems surrounding you. You can just sit back because God's going to fix it all. And that's how the planets are going to get hotter. Rights of humans will never be fully equal. There's so many problems that come from this ultra pacifist philosophy of just, well, I don't have to do anything about anything because God's going to fix it. So I may as well just focus on handing out Watchtower tracts because that's the real answer.
The inspired advice in Romans chapter 12 can help. Let's look together at Romans chapter 12, beginning in verse 17. Return evil for evil to no one. So this provides the context for what follows. We may suffer some evil. Return evil for evil to no one. Take into consideration what is fine from the viewpoint of all men. And then notice verse 18. If possible, as far as it depends on you, be peaceable. Be a peacemaker with all men. Now these words really heighten our appreciation for Jehovah's reasonableness. Why do we say that? Because Jehovah doesn't ask us to do something that we can't do.
Was it reasonable for God to give Miriam leprosy and no punishment for Aaron whenever they had the golden calf incident? Was it reasonable for God, when he was delivering his 10 plagues, to kill all of those innocent children and people for the crime of trying to submit to him? In the biblical text, don't use Watchtower's Bible because it's garbage, but in the text, scholars agree that God forced Pharaoh to do this. And he said it, I'm doing this to you because he put it into his heart. God hardened Pharaoh's heart repeatedly just so he could show how powerful he was. And in the wake of God demonstrating his power, what did we get? Death and suffering. Was that reasonable to you? Was God demonstrating his reasonableness in those instances there, big guy? Because I think you haven't taken into consideration the totality of the Bible. Might sound like you're just picking the parts you like and ignoring the bits you don't. And then this other part of God would never ask us to do something we can't do. Did he ask a man to build a magical otter box so that way he could save the entire animal kingdom and his family from a flood that would engulf the entire planet and it would become Water World? Only Kevin Costner would be surviving with his little tomato plant. Oh, man. But God would never ask you to do something you couldn't do. I mean, he would never ask you to do that.
He doesn't ask us to control others. No. To the extent it depends on you. Jehovah asks that each of us control ourselves, our response to a situation.
Whoa, 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 stop the press, hold the phone. I cannot be reached for a second here. What did you just say? Did he just say that God doesn't want us to control others? You might want to say that to the governing body members because, sorry to undo the veil and open your third eye here, everybody, but the governing body absolutely control millions of people all around the world. They can't make decisions on their own without first consulting their Watchtower library app. And they go out of their way producing these very expensive dramas and talks and presentations just to remind people that they need to trust and believe in Watchtower exclusively.
And to be peacemakers. And then an explanation. Verse 19. Do not avenge yourselves, beloved, but yield place to the wrath. Why? For it is written, vengeance is mine. I will repay, says Jehovah. So the advice is, be a peacemaker, and leave wrath to God. Let him determine if and when and upon whom vengeance will be brought.
So sit back, relax, don't worry. The God that promises he will save you and in the end and uphold his sovereignty, and he's been saying the same thing for thousands of years, don't worry. It's in our lifetime that it's going to happen. Surely it's going to happen in our lifetime. I know every other generation has said that too, but we definitely know this time for real. I am going to skip ahead about like 5 minutes in his talk just to save you guys, but don't worry. I will watch it for you and get an accurate count for our love and peace counter. We are committed to the bit, and that's comedy.
And we can be sure that if we demonstrate our love for Jehovah by respecting his sovereignty, waiting on him, that we will enjoy peace as well. Jehovah assures us that he will bless his people. He will bless us with peace. So let us be determined to love Jehovah with our whole heart, soul, and mind, and to demonstrate our love for Jehovah by patiently waiting on him and respecting his sovereignty, his way of doing things. If we do, we will enjoy the incomparable peace of God.
I gotta be honest, my heart was pounding. That came right down to the wire. I didn't want it to end in a tie. Now, I could have broken the tie because as he's introducing the next speaker, he does say love twice and peace once. So if we're going to have the tiebreaker, then we're going to have to give it up to love. Hello?
I love you.
Felt like an accident. It felt like this was the main body of his talk. And my golly, Miss Molly, I'm saying golly again. I don't know why. Someone had a better expression. Anyway, my golly, Miss Molly, we will have to break the tie and give it to love. But I'm thinking that he absolutely planned this out. I didn't anticipate this when I started doing it. Just like in the first 7 seconds, he said it so many times. So I thought, it's not that hard to like add the numbers. It didn't take very long. And I did not expect it to end in a tie. And at the end, I'm like, you know what? He must have planned that. So that must have been the main body of his talk. And then he's just introducing the next speaker. So I bet that he actually counted out perfectly how it would be a perfect balance of love and peace. I would do that for the whole convention, but it was getting tedious. And, I get bored easily. So, I don't know how I'm going to edit this, so I'll just add an outro here, or it's not really an outro, it'll just be, hey, if you're still watching this video, congratulations. You've probably grown a little bit taller, and you're more attractive to other people, so my congratulations to you. It's just my humble offering as part of the EXJW community. Now that you have my offering, you can go down, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I may or may not keep talking about the next one and the same one. I don't know how it's going to be edited. We'll see. But I have to go shave and brush my teeth.